Hi, Bishop Moore. This is Mr. Wolkers, Director of Mission Effectiveness. And as we come to the end of our school year, we are reflecting on Our Lady's Magnificat, which was our theme for Catholic schools this year. And I want to reflect on one of my favorite lines from that prayer, which is, "He has cast down the mighty from their thrones, and he has lifted up the lowly." It's very beautiful that Our Lady, as she's praising God and remembering everything he has done, she specifically remembers this, that he has cast down the mighty from their thrones, and he has lifted up the lowly. And the word lowly in Latin is humiles, the humble. So this part of the prayer is Our Lady praising God for lifting up those who are humble and casting down those who are mighty. What does she mean? Because this isn't about God punishing or being angry at those who are strong or healthy or very capable. That's not what it's about. But I think it's about remembering that for those who are proud, God doesn't need to cause us to fall. Pride always leads to its own fall. If in no other way, no matter what we achieve in this world, no matter how great we become in one way or another, all of us die. That's actually what the word humility comes from, the word humus, which means earth. It's from that verse, "Remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return." So the great beautiful thing, though, is that as we die to living for ourselves and living by our own power and our own capacity, and we learn to depend on God, he lifts us up to share in his life, to live in a way we could never live on our own. It's how beautiful that how Our Lady reminds us of that. Such a fundamental truth about our relationship with God. Secondly, I just want to share a story from this week that really brought this to life. Thinking about who are the lowly and the humble in this world. So as I'm here working in Uganda with the Imprint Hope team, this week I went with our team to visit a family of a young girl named Khadija who has cerebral palsy. Her cerebral palsy is very severe, and not only does she not have much control of her arms and legs, there's really no hope that she'll ever walk. She also doesn't have any words. She won't communicate with words ever, and she has really no eyesight. She's also blind. And her cerebral palsy is so severe that really it's very difficult for her to breathe because the muscles she needs are not well developed, and even to swallow, the muscles she needs are not well developed. So oftentimes as she tries to swallow liquid food, it ends up going to her lungs and causing pneumonia. So we were actually discussing with the family using a feeding tube to feed her so that she could gain some nutrition and gain some health back. She's very malnourished. So as I stood there in that very humble home, listening to the Imprint Home team counsel this family and tell them why there was hope for Khadija and hope for her life, I just couldn't help but think, this is the lowly of the world. If there ever was someone who was the lowly one that God will lift up, it's gotta be Khadija. And she was such a beautiful girl. Her smile and her eyes were so beautiful. And as I sat there in the back, I just prayed a little bit quietly to myself, if Jesus were here, would this be the kind of person that he would heal? And how is God going to lift up Khadija? If Khadija is the lowliest person maybe on the world, how is God going to lift her up? And I realized that one of the major ways that God lifts up those who are lowly is through us. That God chooses to use us and asks us and invites us and empowers us to lift others up, right? To love others with his own love. And it was just very powerful and beautiful to realize that God could lift up Khadija in a million ways, but he chooses to wait for those human people who will allow him to work through them to lift someone else up. And isn't that really what it really means to live a Christian life? Why does God give us the grace of the sacraments? Why does he give us so much grace in our lives? To allow our hearts to love others with his own love. And I think as we close this school year, it's just very beautiful to be challenged as a community at Bishop Moore to think about how are we lifting others up, but also to reflect on how beautifully that is what we do at Bishop Moore. How often this year I saw students lifting one another up, teammates carrying one another, right? Bishop Moore students, if you go to our lunchroom, seated there with the students from Morning Star, lifting them up, right? Students now lifting their voices to speak for those in our society, in our community who experience injustice, who experience prejudice, who don't have a voice of their own. Bishop Moore students going to the Dominican Republic to serve others. Bishop Moore is truly a community where we lift each other up. And for me, reflecting this week, it was just so beautiful, and it made me so grateful and so proud to be a part of the Bishop Moore community. So as you journey into your summer, I invite you to lean into the places where you feel humble in your life, and know that those are places where God truly wants to lift your heart, and to pay attention to the opportunities God is giving you to lift someone else up. You are in my prayers as you travel through the summer, all the families of Bishop Moore, and I wish you all the best. May God bless you.